It's time for Matt's class, Mike. So take a seat. What we are doing here today is remaking an older rant I made. I made an FTR rant a while ago called Exposing Wade Robson, where I gave points and proving contradictions in his story, proving that he's just a liar out for money like all the rest of them. However, that video is deleted. And this video is a remake of that one. Why did I delete it? Well, number one, some of the information I gave was actually wrong. Number two, I have a lot of new points now. Number three, I think I may have swore a little too much. I was trying to take a stab at Mike Parr as well as Wade, and I kind of went overboard with the swearing. And so a lot of ignorant people didn't want, I think that kind of affected its view count for the ignorant people who are like, oh, Matt said fuck! I don't want to watch it now. And the fourth and final point, of course, is I figured that with the hearing and the trial coming up, why not take a shot at this little scum nugget? Okay, so, as usual, I have all the points written down in a document, so let's get to it. Wade Robson's claim comes within 2 weeks as the MJ1 show that he wanted to join. It's also worth noting that there were several shows and events that Wade wanted to join or work on, but he was either replaced or denied. This heavily supports that Wade is desperately out for revenge. There were so many shows. There was talk about Cirque, MJ1. It's possible that he wanted revenge because Michael Jackson himself told Wade, oh, you could be the next Steven Spielberg, so Wade wanted to be like a director. It never took off. Wade attempted many, mini movies, and it never took off, and it could be possible that Wade is mad at, Michael for giving him like this fake dream sort of thing that never worked, as if it's Michael's fault or something. But anyway, next point. Now, my very first issue comes from Wade using the word liberated to explain how he feels. This word is meant to explain feeling powerful and confident when most victims feel weak and vulnerable. Next point. If Wade is such a victim and feels for other victims, it's called empathy, Wade. You might want to look it up. Then why don't you feel bad for going against Gavin in 2005? You don't seem to have any empathy towards that at all. You went against Gavin, a fellow victim. Asshole. Here's the next point. Wade claims he always knew what happened to him, but lied on the stand because he simply wasn't able to comprehend that what happened was in fact abuse. This is a lie, because even if he was abused but didn't know it was abuse, he still would have explained the sexual actions, but would have described them as something normal because he only knew of it as being normal and not abuse. His own words. Next is the ridiculous point that Wade is blaming MJ for his father's suicide in 2002. Wow. He claims that his father probably felt or assumed that Wade was being abused and offed himself, despite the fact that even if this was true, his suicide was in 2002, thus almost 10 years after the abuse even took place. Additionally, let's assume his father did kill himself because of abuse hunches towards his son. Why would you kill yourself? Why not try and help your son or get back at the abuser? You don't kill yourself. This whole point simply proves that Wade is throwing anything and everything against the wall to see what sticks. A very common liar manipulation tactic. Wade's last gig was being Demi Lovato's creative director for her tour in 2011, so he hasn't gotten any work in a while. It's also worth noting that her tour was sponsored by AEG, and so were several other events. Actually, I'll get into that later. Wade claims that he didn't know MJ had an estate, and in order for him to get his hearing, the judge has to believe that Wade didn't know. Well, they have to believe that he didn't know that he had an estate until March 4th or April 3rd. And unaware of the abuse until, I believe that would be March 8th, 2012, in November. But the thing is, in November of 2009, Wade Robson's longtime attorney, Helen Yu, had this to say on her website, and I quote, "Now that his estate advisors are John Branca and John McClane, music industry veterans who know how to monetize the business, unfortunately, he will most likely earn more dead than alive. Helen Yu, Wade Robson's current lawyer on Michael Jackson. That was made in 2009, that statement. So obviously they knew. His lawyer knew. Wade obviously knew. On top of that, Wade also worked on the Opus with them in 2009, and he also spoke with them about Cirque du Soleil in 2011. So yeah, you're lying again. Next point. He originally claimed he didn't realize he was molested until March 2011 due to a repressed memory, which you then went on the Today Show claiming that it was a tabloid from the media, when in reality that was your original claim according to the documents. But then you changed it to May 2012 after a mental breakdown, claiming you actually did remember everything but just didn't understand it was abuse. Now, if you didn't realize you were abused until around May 2012, why would you go on camera after realizing this and still praise Michael Jackson on the show called Masterclass, which was in July? Nice try. Just a simple piece of logic now. Let's assume you're MJ, okay? And you molested Wade Robson, or any of the boys that appeared on the stand to defend you in 2005. Would you really want your own victim on the stand who might potentially slip up and give heavy details about what you did? Obviously, MJ and his team want people on the stand who will defend MJ, people who were never victims. Just some basic logic for you. And finally, remember also that Blanca Francia, I talked about her in the Myth vs. Reality video, link below? She's now returning to defend Wade. To refresh your memory, this is the woman who, on the stand in 2005, claimed she saw MJ and Wade showering together in the early 90s. However, in her deposition in 1993, she admitted she lied. But then again in 2005, on the stand, she changed her story as many as 5 times while being examined by Ron Zonin and Tom Mesereau. And eventually admitted that she only saw MJ in the shower, nobody else. And now, again, for the 3rd time, she's bringing the shower story back. Sad and pathetic. Link below to watch the Myth vs. Reality video, and link below to a huge article giving even more detail on Wade than I did in this video. I hope you all learned a great lesson. Fucker.